Mr. Avila.
Yes, Your Honor, what's court's permission? What's the next?
You are, next one's 133.
Right, and I'll go back to playing the recording in a minute, but People's 133 is a series of text messages, pages A through H. Detective Carranza, looking at 131, we went through the Cellbrite reports related to conversations between Gareth and Dr. Amie Harwick's phone, correct?
Yes.
Now, you had Dr. Harwick's phone. Were you able to see if she kept those actual text messages in her phone?
The messages are on the Cellbrite, which means they're in the phone, because the Cellbrite's a download of her actual physical cell phone.
But were there actual text messages on her phone?
Yes.
Okay, looking here at People's 133A, is this a copy of those text messages from her actual phone?
Yes.
And so I'm not going to go through all of them, but for example, on the left side in gray, that would be text messages represented by Gareth. I interneted your number, recognize it now that I see it, if I'm allowed to text, and so on.
Yes.
And I'm just going to go through these pages quickly. 1B is also a representation of those text messages we already went through with the jury from People's Exhibit number 131.
Yes.
C, is that the same thing?
Yes.
And the middle one here, is this the one where at the end she ends it with, and move forward with our lives?
With our own lives, yes.
Yes, thank you. And page D, that's also a physical text message that's also represented in the Cellbrite report.
Yes.
E, same thing.
Yes.
And F is also the same. Oh, actually, F is a repetition. Let me see. Oh, you know what F is? It's a clear copy of 133A. So F is just a clear copy of 133A. Is that correct?
Yes.
And G would be the same for the page following A?
Yes.
Okay. And so is H, it's a clear copy of the previous page we identified where the text was, and move forward with our own lives.
Yes.
On her cell phone, were you able to also extract any Nest camera videos?
Yes, we were able to.
Okay, about how many Nest camera videos were on her actual cell phone?
About 75 Nest video clips. Some are 2 seconds in duration, which were like motion activated. And there was a couple that were a little bit longer, maybe a minute. There were some females that were in her residence walking around talking about the decorations.
And looking at all the Nest video, what was the time of the last Nest video on her cell phone?
The last recorded Nest clip that I found in the Cellbrite was on February 14th, 2020 at 6:41 p.m. And it was a motion activation by a spider web that happened to be in front of the Nest camera, which is inside her living room area.
So there are no Nest videos.
Calling for speculation that it was a spider web that triggered.
Okay, there was you could see a spider web in front of the camera, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can't say whether indeed it triggered it. You're suspecting it did, right?
Well, I believe it triggered it, Your Honor.
Okay,
I
yeah.
reviewed, there's actually several clips from that same spider web that activate the camera. if you
Well,
watch it.
Well, perhaps, but you can't say conclusively that it did. It appears to be.
Your
It
Honor,
appears to be, yes. Your
Yeah,
Honor.
okay.
I have a DVD with
Motion to
that
strike, Your Honor.
Hold on.
with that particular video clip.
I've seen a spider web on
But
front.
this is that was from, I believe, a different occasion. This is the last video clip from Dr. Amie Harwick's actual cell phone.
Okay, and it may well be that a spider web appears, or a spider, or what have you. We can't conclusively state that it.
No.
That's the objection. And I will strike it. Go ahead.
Right. The video is what it is, so
Yeah,
I'm just going to play
sure.
it.
Go ahead.
Please. We can play one more time. How long is the video clip?
It's about 2 seconds. The short motion activated clips are about 2 seconds length.
Okay, and what's shown on this People's 134, is that what you were describing?
Yes,
And is this the last Nest camera video on Dr. Amie Harwick's cell phone?
yes, it is.
And this was on Valentine's Day at 6:41 p.m.
Yes, that's correct.
So no, what's that, I'm sorry?
Did you mark that as 134?
134?
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
So there are no Nest camera video clips after that one?
No,
No. And did you also, on her cell phone, did you find any voicemail messages from Defendant Gareth Pursehouse?
yes,
You want to have a CD that we already marked as People's 132. I have a transcript,
All right.
132A. May I publish the one-page transcript to the jury?
Yep.
I have so much I need to say.
Okay, I don't think everyone had one yet.
Sorry, Your Honor.
It's a,
I missed it.
okay, I think everyone has one now.
I think everyone does. So is this video, is this audio clip dated January 18, 2020 at about 16:26?
yes.
Well, actually, what's the time? Do you know what the time was for this recording?
No, I can't recall the time recording was made on her phone.
We have just one moment.
Yes.
Well, let me play the recording and then we'll address that. But it's January 18, 2020.
That's correct.
I have so much I need to say. Please give me a chance to just say it so I can make sense. Please.
Is that call at about 4:26 p.m.?
Yes,
And is that the extent of it?
yes.
And after that, do you see any more text messages on Amy's phone from Defendant Gareth Pursehouse?
No,
Do you see any voicemail messages that he's able to leave after that voicemail message?
no,
Now, you also obtained the defendant's phone after he was arrested on February 15, 2020.
yes,
And was that booked into evidence as property item number 54 for this case, 200606-220?
yes, it was.
Looking here at two photographs, but it's marked People's next in order, People's number 135,
Yes.
A and B.
Yes.
Looking at People's 135, can you tell the jury what is shown here?
Yes, that's a evidence envelope with the Mr. Pursehouse's cell phone next to it. As you can see by the envelope, it has my name under employee booking property and cell phone item number 54, the case number we've been talking about during disability in this case.
Looking at 135B, what is shown here?
That's the rear of the cell phone, the same evidence envelope.
And early on, were you able to do a download of the data from that cell phone?
Yes, a download was done on that phone.
Okay. And were you able to download the data on or about March 20th, 2020, and make copies so both the people in the defense could have a copy of that data?
Yes,
And were you able to look at the data on that phone?
yes, I was.
And did you use the same process, the Celebrite, where you downloaded the raw data and a Celebrite report is generated?
Yes,
Looking here at People's next in order, it's a photograph showing what a Celebrite options are, a screenshot of a Celebrite reader. Did this be marked People's next in order?
136.
136. By the way, how familiar are you with the Celebrite program?
Very familiar, having gone through numerous phones in my career in the last few years of being made aware of this technology and other cases that I've used. Very familiar with using this format. Very, very user friendly. And it makes things a lot simpler when dealing with a cell phone download.
Can you tell us, looking at this exhibit, what is shown here on, see, the left part?
So the left part, if I use a pointer,
Yes.
the left part will have the categories of the download. As you go down the download, you'll see what's on the physical phone. Like for instance here, applications 3, audio, there's 2,765 audio files, and that corresponds to the number of the item, like 6 documents. There's over 10,000 images on this download from the cell phone, 1,222 text documents, and 5 videos. So this makes it easier for the user to go.
I'm sorry, can you go back to where you were saying the
Sorry about
videos?
that.
No, that's okay, the numbers are just busy.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah,
Five
thank you.
videos. This makes it easier for us to go into different categories of the cell site to view what we're looking at. And it even has a timeline on here also. It has 181, it captured 181 timeline events. And this is the format of the cell site. And it has the extraction date and time. And
See?
and also over here, it's the same thing as the right column. It'll have the same numbers. And pretty much we'll click on that item and then it'll open up, for instance, if I click on the image folder here, it'll open up the image in a thumbnail view so I can go through each image to see what they are. The same thing for the audio files or documents or video files, which are only 5 on this phone.
Right. And now where it says text, what does that mean?
That's a text document. When I opened that up, it was encoded text files. It's not like a text message, but a document that was created on this phone or saved to this phone, and it's encoded with different numbers.
Were you able to find any text messages on this phone?
Objection, lack of foundation.
You can answer.
No text messages were saved on this phone.
How about contacts?
No contact list was saved on this phone.
How about call logs?
No call log, and a call log is simply a phone calls you made while using the phone, and it'll have date and time and number you called. There are no call logs on this cell site.
And looking at people 68, a text message from that Ms. Angelique Judice testified was a text message chain between herself and Defendant Gareth Pursehouse. Did you find that text message in Mr. Gareth Pursehouse phone, property item number 54?
No,
Did you find any text messages?
no.
Looking at people's exhibit number 58, text messages with Ms. Natasha Polson. Did you find any of those text messages?
No.
All right. We've heard discussion about the urine swab, property item number 34, correct?
Yes.
At some point, were you requested to have that tested to confirm that that was urine?
Yes.
And was that done sometime around June 2023?
Yes.
And on June 29th, 2023, did you take, where did you take that swab from and where did you take it to?
We have within the LAPD, we have various different locations where evidence is stored. I picked up that swab at our ECS evidence control section, which is located at Piper Tech. And I took that swab from that location over to the Hertzberg Davis Forensic Science Center, which is a shared facility with LAPD and the Sheriff's Department. And I booked that into Sheriff's evidence because the Sheriff's Department was going to test that swab for urine.
And then do they communicate the results to you?
Yes.
And the DNA results, were those also communicated to you after you requested DNA analysis?
There was no DNA requested on the urine swab.
No, I'm talking about the other swabs.
Yes.
Okay.
By LAPD, not the sheriff. So.
Yes, thank you. Lastly, I have a map showing two locations, 2086 Mount Street and 8148 Cabora Street, let me just remind people's next in order,
137.
137. Does this map show the general location, or the approximate location of 2086 Mountain Street at the very top right corner?
Yes,
And that's in Hollywood Hills, correct?
yes,
And does this show the approximate location of 8148 Cabora Street, Defendant Purshouse's residence back on February 15, 2020?
Cabora Drive.
Cabora Drive, I'm sorry. Actually, let me just. There's a paralegal that's going to be fired. Okay. Drive, I'm kidding. No. So what's the approximate distance between those two locations?
About 16 miles.
I have nothing further on.